Hey, what's up everybody? Video 44 coming at you with another video. So, as I do, let my mind go. Got my wedding cake weed fresh in my lungs. So whatever comes out of my mouth, that is my disclaimer. This Rudy Gobert trade really busted up the entire market. And I don't think the market should acknowledge it at all. I don't think it should. Certain times when there's a glitch in the matrix, you don't have to necessarily react to it, right? It's a glitch. It's just a glitch. You don't have to go blowing up the whole dang system necessarily. We can go on as usual as if that did not happen, because clearly it should not have happened. And if everybody does it, the whole league is going to be lopsided between, it's going to be about 3 teams that are good and the rest of the teams are going to be bad. If everybody did what the Timberwolves did right now, it would be a league full of bad teams everywhere. Teams that couldn't get themselves out of any bad situations they find themselves in. Teams that are going to have to stick with bad rosters for 7, 8, 9 years, possibly down the road. That's what would happen if every team did what the Timberwolves just did. I don't know what's going on with this year. I feel like I'm in like some kind of a twilight zone as it pertains to the NBA, watching these transactions between this trade and the DeJounte Murray trade. I don't know what's going on. I'm trying to figure out, am I missing something? Is there something going on with the league that would make it so that you would want to do these moves that put you in a hole 7, 8 years down the road with your picks, just to take players that play the same position and to slap them together in small markets? Like, that's a thing. We are seeing a pattern. This has now happened twice in 3 days. And I killed the Atlanta Hawks for it because it looked like a silly idea. And then turn around, the Timberwolves make an even worse one. That's an even worse decision. But then I asked myself, well, if this is starting to happen, if this is starting to be a trend, why is that? Is this just two organizations that are deciding they just want to do something that is illogical? Because this is business. We're talking about businesses here that are making decisions that are going to affect their bottom line. So am I to assume that these are two organizations making illogical choices? Or is there something down the pipeline that I don't see that would make it so that these teams would want to do something like this? Now, I look at the Minnesota Timberwolves thing and I say everybody wants to react to what it is they see coming down the pipeline with Victor coming. Because I think Victor is that serious. It's like the boogeyman coming. You know, you got a huge human being coming that can do things that no one else has ever been able to do. It's like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar on the perimeter. If you load up on length like the Timberwolves you did today, maybe down the road, you give yourself a chance of actually dealing with whatever team lands this dude. But for the time being, first of all, that doesn't make any sense to me, because you still got to wait for Victor to develop. It ain't like he's going to come out the gate being your MVP or nothing crazy. You don't expect that. He has to still give himself a couple years just like everybody else before he turns into whatever the heck monstrous LeBron-like character he's going to turn into. But the thing about it is this. For the time being, you got to be able to deal with the league that we have right now, which is a bunch of teams that are shooting the basketball and switching on the perimeter, and, as we said, wingy, long, stretchy players. And it's been widely understood that if you have spacing issues, you're going to have problems. Clearly, if you have the centers that we talk about all the time, if you know, traditional centers, how they can tend to find themselves not being able to guard the perimeter, and because of it, they're defensive liabilities. Rudy Gobert is the quintessential version of that. He is the very definition of that. And somehow his price tag still holds that of a superstar. I do not understand this. And I very much understand why he's being paid what he's earned, because he's earned that in Utah, and Utah gave him that money, and that's the money that he's dictated to receive. I also understand that just like James Harden, he's in a space in his career where he can't live up to that contract based on what level he's playing at right now. Now, I believe the Timberwolves misevaluated his talent level. at this stage. I think they pulled the Philadelphia 76ers, and I think they're getting Rudy Gobert from 2 years ago, and I think they're going to find out they're getting Rudy Gobert from this year, which is more so what I'm telling you. Somebody who's slower than that guy, somebody who that guy would not have dominated this league, because this league is a little different, how they tend to take advantage of this more so than ever before. So it's now a situation where it's like, okay, well, the pace that you're going to be playing against the Western Conference, a lot of these teams are fast. You're dealing with teams that are lengthy, but they're not slow. And as a Timberwolves team, you were last year one of the teams that could defend anybody, with Patrick Beverly and Vanderbilt and all these different players that you could switch out and keep yourself modern. Rudy Gobert takes you all the way out of that. All the way out of that. And it seems like they did it as a move that's supposed to help Karl Towns, help him with his perimeter play so that he could stay on the perimeter more so and get away with it, and help him with his interior defensive issues since he's not known as a good defensive player. Rudy Gobert is supposed to help him with that, but what they don't understand is Rudy Gobert don't run the floor like Karl Towns. So the pace that they're going to want to play at is actually different. Karl's been running hard lately. Rudy's more traditional for his size. He don't want to run up and down like Karl's going to want to do. And then what are you doing for Anthony Edwards' pace in this situation? What pace are you asking him to play at? If he's one of the best players in the open court that we have in this league, why are you asking him to be rendered only to the half court at this point? And then you remove some of the shooters like Beasley away from the situation? How does that work? I don't know. I know it doesn't work. That's basically what I'm saying. I know it doesn't work. And what kills me about this whole situation is they traded away Kessler, and just shot blocker. One of the things that I said I liked about this Timberwolves team this year is because they drafted Kessler, who I thought was a fantastic shot blocker, who, if paired with Karl Anthony Towns, put forth an intriguing shot blocking presence. I was very intrigued by what it is that they had in mind as it pertains to having Kessler and Karl, because of the dynamic that they ultimately ended up creating with Rudy Gobert. In other words, you didn't need to do this, Rudy Gobert. You just drafted Kessler. I promise you, whatever you think Rudy Gobert is going to give you, Kessler probably would have given you. And you're going to find that out very, very soon. Very soon. You gave away your whole future. Your whole future. For a guy who's headed in the other direction. After watching the Lakers make the mistake with Westbrook, after watching the Nets make the mistake with Harden, the Wolves made that mistake even more so of a risk because of the styles that the NBA is being played at right now. Now, granted, you're going to be tall. You're going to be really, really tall. But you could have picked up Taco Fall and been really, really tall, too. I could have picked up Mo Bamba and been really, really tall, too. I'm just like... I know the Timberwolves were playing basketball while the Utah Jazz were playing basketball, so they probably didn't see a whole lot of Utah Jazz playing playoff basketball, and I'm referring to the playoffs. But if they would have watched Utah in the playoffs, they would understand why this should not have been done. It just should not have been done. This is my humble opinion, so I'm just going to say this way. I believe Utah blew their team up because Rudy Gobert has regressed to the player that I'm saying he has. If for not, I don't even know that they blow the team up. Truthfully, I think the whole point is they couldn't win the way that they played because Rudy Gobert has turned into such a fossil at such an inflated price. That's why Utah blew their team up. And you paid that price, Timberwolves, for that player. Do you understand that? That's like me getting a car off the lot. I run it down to its worst possible way. And then I sell it at the price I bought it at. And I find a patsy to pay for it. The Timberwolves, you are that patsy. You turn my problem into a blessing. The Jazz should have had to pay picks to get rid of Rudy Gobert. You should have demanded picks from them. There should have been no reason they were able to get picks and players out of you. This is why I said what I said at the very beginning of this video. The field, the rest of the market needs to ignore that glitch. Because if all of y'all start putting price tags on stuff like that, you're going to be mortgaging your future for players that can only help you for 2 years. You can't follow them just because they did that. They did not dictate the market. They overpaid for something they had no business overpaying for. That should not dictate what everyone else does. I'm sorry. That is a flawed system. It can't go that way. Just because a guy wants to spend $100 on a McDonald's sandwich does not mean everybody else needs to be paying $100 for that damn sandwich. No. What he did was pay a $97 tip. And that's how you need to look at it. Because if you follow that, everybody's going to be in a hole. The whole league will fall apart if everybody does this. This is a drastic misevaluation of talent and a drastic misallocation of assets. A-Rod was just fleeced out of assets. That's what just happened here. And nobody on ESPN is going to say it, because by doing so, they would have to admit how far behind Rudy Gobert's value is from the price tag that he's being held at. Thus bringing down practically the entire value of the Utah Jazz organization based on the fact that he was a player that they spent their whole focus on marketing behind over the last several years. But he was that player. It wasn't like he wasn't that player. It's just that the field changes so fast. But you're not keeping up with that field. You're going to still play the price tag for something that is decreased in value almost 100%. That's what happened to the Lakers and Westbrook. But there was no way of knowing that because that player hadn't necessarily proven that before arriving. Rudy just did if you were watching the damn playoffs. I don't know, man. I don't know. I hope it works out for the Timberwolves, you know. Hopefully they get a championship out of it. I can see a scenario where it works. That's the part I didn't say. It's just what needs to happen in order for it to work. First of all, Anthony Edwards needs to turn into something like Michael Jordan. Second of all, they're going to have to figure out a pace that works for everybody. Third of all, Karl Anthony Towns is going to have to adjust to playing the four really, really fast, and he's going to have to take to it and excel in it, which I'm not as worried about. I think that can actually be the least of the problems. That can be the least of the problems. Of all the problems, that's the least of the one I'm worried about. I think Karl Towns moves to the four pretty easily, just like Anthony Davis should be able to move to the four pretty easily. But Rudy Gobert is a sluggard for your offense. Absolute sluggard. He's going to help you on the inside at times, but not offensively. You're going to dump the ball to him, it's going to turn to nothing. I'm just letting you know. Be ready for that. It's going to be a strange thing, because you're going to be like, here, and it's like nothing's going to happen. Nothing's going to, the ball's going that way. I don't know, man. Hopefully he's working on his conditioning. Hopefully he's, doing what he needs to do to come back his best self. If that's the case, and he proves me wrong, maybe he's a little more agile this year. That can make things really, really nice for the Timberwolves, given the fact that they have such phenomenal length. But here's the real problem. I ain't even get to the real problem. D'Angelo Russell isn't exactly on a minimum contract. They gave away flexibility and picks. So now all of the assets that they have, if they want to get rid of those assets, as I said, sometimes it takes picks to get rid of those assets, right? Like, for example, if you have a really bad contract like, say, Rudy Gobert's, I may ask for 2 picks for you to take it from me, as I did earlier in the video. Well, guess what? Timberwolves don't have those. They gave them away to get Rudy Gobert. So I can increase the price on D'Angelo Russell if I'm trading for him because of it. Because I can argue he's a salary dump that you don't have the picks to attach to make it make sense for me to pay fair price. Which means you're going to have to pay for the fact that you can't pay for the fact. Do you understand what I'm saying? That's how it works in negotiations. This is how people swindle each other out of assets for little stuff like this. This is why you never leave yourself without picks, and certainly not for assets that you can't use. Yeah, it's as bad as it looks. Even if the experiment works, you put yourself in such a disadvantaged point from which to work from here on out. Even if the little experiment works. Because you didn't give away all your picks in the stupid thing. Not only that, but now you're going to get lowballed even more so because you made a stupid decision that everybody saw you make. You're going to be the new Sacramento Timberwolves because of the fact that we all just seen you just bust up the whole market, basically, with this dumb, it's very, very dumb trade. Yeah. It becomes a problem on top of a problem on top of a problem. The next GM that you hire after firing the person that just did this is going to have problems too because of the stupid stuff. That's how real this is for you, A-Rod. Yeah, that's that bad. And your franchise is the same franchise that had the Joe Smith situation that set y'all back 10 years. And you're going to be the same franchise that does this. The same franchise that took 2 point guards when y'all had 2 first-round picks. The same year Steph Curry was a point guard. And you didn't take him. You left Steph Curry on the board. And you're going to be the team that does this. Wolves fans, I am so sorry. Anthony Edwards is definitely getting the hell out of there. Or you're going to overpay for him. Yeah, he's still going to get the hell out of there. Anthony Edwards, start thinking about where you want to play, brother, because that place is shot to hell with this. That was a Westbrook move y'all just made. Y'all just made a Westbrook move. Y'all going to have to deal with that for years. And unlike Westbrook, Rudy Gobert's situation is a little worse, I think, because of the nature of the big man not having value anymore. So Westbrook is at least a guard who you know is going to play 81 games, even if he turns the ball over 100 times. He's going to be there every night. I don't know if you can say that about Rudy, even though he is pretty durable, I would say. He's durable. But if you can't use him systematically, it becomes a problem. I got another nightmare for you. I don't think this is going to actually happen, but if you're going up against a GM like myself, it may. Let's just say Karl Anthony Towns wants out. He's at 225 because you signed him to that yesterday. You don't have any picks. I could argue, depending on where he's at in his career when he asks for that, especially if he's unhappy, I could argue that's a salary dump. Heard of Ben Simmons? This is why you leave yourself picks. You don't deplete yourself of picks till 2029. It's too hard to get them. Do you know what could end up happening to you? You may actually have to trade Karl Anthony Towns or Anthony Edwards in order to get picks, in order to help yourself out of certain situations, cap-wise, because of the situation. I'm telling you, it's a you don't understand. Like, these people are sitting up here saying, "Oh, Rudy Gobert, this is a great trade. Oh, they got Twin Towers. They're gonna have a chance to win. Anthony Edwards can win a championship." Even if they win a championship, they're gonna have many, many, many headaches because of this move. Many headaches because of this move. And Utah, these are the type of moves that make you a champion. Utah Jazz may have just actually given themselves a championship. Not necessarily with the move itself, but because of the flexibility they created for themselves, they can build something huge. Because of the flexibility of them already having their natural picks on top of the picks they just received for Rudy Gobert, which was a piece that wasn't valuable like that, like I said, you turn their problem into a blessing. Now they could take their fleet of picks, anything they receive that obtains any value going forward, and they can build whatever they want for as long as they want. Like, literally, they could start a new culture. So that's what the Timberwolves just did for the Utah Jazz. I could argue the Utah Jazz just won the lottery. They just won the lottery. For those of us who think like GMs, we understand they won the lottery. And talk about what their franchise can be going forward because of this little stimulus package they just received. The possibilities are endless. It's going to take time. Understand, I'm not talking about nothing that's going to happen over the next 2-3 years, but they have the canvas that is as bright as any canvas in the league right now. Truly. Definitely a job a GM wants. So Danny Ainge needs a statue. I really believe that Danny Ainge, Dwayne Wade, they need to be given all the praise for the Utah Jazz. They have turned the Utah Jazz around overnight with this move. I'm certain of that. If Donovan Mitchell does want to stay in Utah, I would say just like I told Bradley Beal last year, the situation has changed. You're in a good spot. You are. You may not know it. Just like I told AD before he left New Orleans, you are in a good spot. Why? Because the GM knows what he's doing. You got assets on top of assets. And now you're the only star there. Now in AD's situation, he was coming out. He was going to leave regardless. And I didn't blame him because LA awaited. But Zion was going to slip right in. And you see the team Zion's going to be playing on next year. That's exactly what I was talking about. That's what I was talking about. You wait a little while, you're in a good spot. Bradley Beal, now that he waits a little while, Washington's situation is straight. All they got to do is get the pieces that are ultimately coming their way. Tank a year or two, they'll be fine. Bradley's in a good spot. He's going to have to wait for it, but he's home. And by the time the end of his career comes around, he probably will be playing with a loaded basketball team. Dame Lillard, same thing. If they do things correctly, I don't know about some of the contracts they signed today, but I'm saying they were in a good spot and could continue to be in a good spot depending on what happens next. But I feel that way about this situation now. Utah is in a better spot than both of those teams. So if Donovan Mitchell just wants to sit tight, maybe suck on a bad team for 2 years, maybe 2 years at the most, so they can get the first pick in the draft one of these 2 years, they got the cap space, the pick equity, everything they need to bring a very, very, very serious team to Utah. So that's what I see there. That is exactly what I see there. Yeah, Timberwolves. I would be very surprised if this ends well for the Timberwolves, because Rudy Gobert. It's going to be very hard for me to see Rudy Gobert playing up that value unless that team is really, really good. They have to be really, really good, and he's going to have to just somehow override what it is that I think is just basically the game passing him by as a big guy who can't guard the perimeter. Like, I don't think this is a situation where he comes in, plays hard or something. This is not about that. This is a system issue. This is about, how can I keep you on the floor without the score running up issue. And so, like, that's what I'm saying. It's not about Rudy and it's conditioning. A lot of times with players, he's shooting well. No, this is not that. This is not that. It's not even a problem. He can come in his best self, and still, this will be the problem. You go up against a Golden State, he got to sit down. Go up against a team like Dallas, depending on how they shoot, he got to sit down. Because he ain't going to be able to get out there without fouling. It's impossible. So, I wish the Timberwolves knew this before they made that deal. They're going to find out the hard way. My name is BDF44. I thank you all for watching.